Hello, I just want to do a follow-up video from yesterday because I don't want to give anybody the impression that I'm a victim of having cerebral palsy, which because I'm not. I don't feel that I am. So yeah, I just don't want anyone to get that impression. I was actually able to accomplish a lot in my life. The cerebral palsy wasn't really too much of a stumbling block for me. I was able to. I went to public primary school and public high school, and I graduated from both of those with no issues. When I was in my primary school years, would have been, well, maybe even just prior to that. Anyway, at a younger age, as kids, when you grow up, learn how to ride a bike. I did that. Just like with my cerebral palsy, that's mainly my legs that are affected. I've got really weak legs. However, I was able to get them, and as a result of the weak legs, that means my balance is pretty bad. However, when it came to riding a bicycle, I picked that up very quickly. Literally within an hour or so, one afternoon, I was able to get that together. So that was great. And and then with high school as well as primary school, both of those were in public schools, and I graduated from them both with no issues whatsoever. And I left school and went straight into employment, and I also have had other jobs along the way where I was able to gain employment. So again, things that everyone else does. Now, here in Australia, back in my day, you could get your driver's license at the age of 17. I waited until I was 18 to get mine, because at the time I had to have spinal surgery, which I'll cover that in a separate, different future video. However, I went for my driver's license at 18 in a manual, or back in those days it was called an A class, and I passed that on my first test. And then a few years later, I went for what then was known as a B class, which in today's terminology is heavy vehicle license, or HR. And again, I was able to achieve that on my first test too. So there's those things that were covered with no issue. And growing up, because here in Australia we had a lot of Americana stuff due to, with TV shows and movies, and just the culture was pretty much part of our upbringing as well. So I always had a desire to go there, and which I did achieve that in 2004. I flew over to the United States on my own and stayed there for 2 and a bit weeks, and that was great, and that was a really good accomplishment, which I was very happy with. Now, a few other, I won't mention too many more things. I just wanted to give you a few examples of the things I was able to do. And when I was married, I was very blessed to have 2 daughters. First up, 2 daughters and a son, and then another daughter, so 3 daughters and a son, and all of them completely healthy, no mental or physical issues whatsoever, which I feel very blessed with. And yeah, I do have beliefs. I certainly not into, ramming it onto other people, because I believe that everybody has the free will to believe or not believe what they choose to. However, I was raised in the Christian beliefs, which I still hold to, and on that, I just want to say that I do not, blame God for any of what has happened to me either. I'm totally fine with, with everything that's happened, because, even though it can be hard for some people and, to deal with situations, I believe that if you have resilience and if you're able to work through it, then there's a great reward at the end of it, because you gain a lot of strength and character from it. I will touch on one thing, and this is something that it is a fact. People with certain disabilities, like mine, or things like Down syndrome, they can be and are excluded socially. There's no question about that. That is a fact. However, for me, when I was younger, it used to bother me a little bit, but as I've gotten older, I've come to the realization that those types of things, when they happen, are actually a blessing, because it eliminates the people from your life that really shouldn't be in your life anyway, because it's, I guess, the ones that basically are there for you and in your life are there for real. It's a good way to weed out the superficiality or superficial people, and that's just the way that is. Now, one other thing I'll mention is, here in Australia, back in the 90s, there was a guy called Steady Eddie, was his stage name. His real name is Christopher Widdows. Now, I had the pleasure of meeting him a few years back here where I live at a show that he did, and it was quite funny, because when I introduced myself to him, I said, "Oh, I've got cerebral palsy as well," and he goes, "Yeah, I could tell," and I found that it was pretty funny, and just his personality all over, which is great. So now, this is pretty much all I wanted to cover in this video. So just to reiterate, the main point of it is that no, I'm not a victim. I never have been and never will be a victim. Whatever life throws at us, we can overcome with resilience, and I am very blessed. I have been very blessed in my life. I still am blessed in my life, and I will continue to be. Oh, actually, I will mention this now as well. One other accomplishment that I've been able to do despite these things is I do, have my own house as well. So, when I was younger, when a lot of people were out partying and everything, I got my first house early in life. So, working and paying off a mortgage and that for my first house, and now I'm into my second house, and so there is a lot of things that I have to be grateful for, which I am, and so I guess I'll just wrap this video up at that. and I hope you have a really good day, and thank you for listening if you have. See ya.